be devoted to the depredation on the species and to the disappearance of a resource on which its life depends, but by the action of man due to change in its habitat as a result of natural disaster, or a radical change in the weather. The consequence: when a species goes extinct, an entire ecosystem is altered, and this results in the lack of balance in the proliferation of other still extinct species, whether plant, animal, or both. When ecosystem is affected, human and the plant as such, not only living beings. An example of this is excessive loading. It produces dramatic change in the climate, and as consequence of rains and temperatures in different places on the earth. One of the solutions, and the most obvious, is the management and moderate use of plant, animal, and mineral as well. Agro, the scientists made this calculation based on fossils from past extinction. The predation suggests that at least 550 species will follow in the footsteps of the mammoth and the saber-toothed feline. With each lost species part of Earth's natural history disappears, researchers say. Every year the list of extinction and endangered species grow larger. Some emblematic, others little known, but very important for the balance of ecosystems. The animals endangered of extinction in Mexico are axolotl, jaguar, Mexican wolf, black bear, vaquita marina, lorgid turtle, red macaw, ocelot, sea macaw, tapir, gossamer raccoon or pygmy raccoon, rabbit from San Jose. The animals endangered of extinction in the world are mouse gorilla, Iberian lynx, Sumatra tiger, white rhino, snow leopard, panda bear, polar bear, Carmen chimpanzee, pangolin, burning orangutan, red tuna, and axolotl. The axolotl. The Aztec worshipped the myth of the axolotl as it is maiden name and trapped the creatures from the vast network of canals and lakes that sustain the communities in central Mexico. Today, only a fraction of this aquatic system remains, and it is being contaminated by Felicidades, pesticides, feces, and trash from Mexico City. Polar bear. Polar bears depend on seals to catch their prey. The possum seals as they image through the event and start them while they survive outdoors, but the ice is melting as a climbing works. Pangolin. It is estimated that more than 1 million pangolins were illegally traded between 2007 and 2017. Making them the most traded mammals in the world. Camel chimpanzee. Deforestation has occurred more slowly in West Central Africa, at least compared to other tropical regions abroad. The habitat of the camel chimpanzee has remained largely intact, and yet about 3/4 of its population has been lost in the last century. This is because they are widely hunted for the meat, is consumed locally, and is also smuggled abroad. Agriculture, logging, oil extraction, mining, and dry-wooding control forests and the fragmentation tiny communities. How many animals are in danger of extinction? According to the International Union for the Conservation of Nature, the international body with the greatest authority over the problem, approximately 5,200 species of animals are currently in danger of extinction. 11% of birds, 20% of reptiles, 34% of fish, and 25% of amphibians and mammals are in danger of extinction. Human overpopulation implies a greater demand for the land to cultivate and raise livestock, reducing the ecosystem where millions of people like animals. This destruction can also take place indirectly as climate change increases and modifies habitats, sometimes drastically, as happens with the desertification of the certain areas of the planet. What are the actions for the protection and care of animals? 1. Prohibit the hunting. Hunting has put many species in danger. 2. Avoid deforestation of forests. The felling of trees is wreaking havoc on animal species. 3. Delimit protected areas and natural reserves. Government must act to mark especially vulnerable areas. 4. Avoid pollution of natural reservoirs. Nature is most important source of resource in the animal world. 5. Promote plans for captive breeding. Contract breeding is a very effective way to help certain species. 6. Contribute to reducing tree felling with recycling. Recycling is very easy. Way to be sustained. 7. Less protected areas and natural reservoirs. Follow all the directions that are given to you when you go on a walk. 8. Be responsible. Do not buy products made from endangered species. You can make illegal wildlife trafficking, not a local business. 9. Restore ecosystem. The destruction of habitats is the main threat to 85% of all species at risk and endangered extinction. Preventing a species from disappearing implies implementation of a large amount of a resource and concrete action. Some of them will be to avoid the fragmentation of their habitats. For example, deforestation, prosecute and harshly punish illegal hunting and species trafficking, to degradation of nature or promotion breeding, the introduction and genetic improvement programs. The fight against pollution and climate change is also the fight the conservation of many animals. Each personal decision has a global consequence in multiple aspects, hence the importance of social awareness of population. 80 more vegetables, something in less land. With this action, we can reduce the extinction of species. Finish my presentation and thank you for attention.